Warning. The following video contains strong language that some viewers may find offensive or disturbing.
What are some horrifying things to consider when thinking about aliens? Aliens could do to us what we did to wolves. Selectively breeding a once noble species in grotesque ways. Transforming us into the equivalent of bulldogs, poodles, dachshunds, etc. I'm sure this has been done a bunch of times. But a world-building concept I really like is the idea that stereotypical fantasy races were once all human. But then adapted to, was bred for different environments. So like dwarves adapted to a high-gravity planet. Orcs have green skin so that they can photosynthesize on a harsh desert planet with little food. Halflings were bred to be domestic servants, etc. The possibility of them already knowing about us but us not knowing about them. We have no idea if they know. They could be committing space espionage right now and we wouldn't know about it. One theory, from Stephen Hawking, is that if they are sufficiently advanced that aliens may treat us like ants. When we build dams, we don't worry about whether or not a dam will cause an anthill to be flooded out. Similarly, a species that is advanced as far beyond us as we are beyond ants might seek to alter our planet or even our solar system to their advantage without giving consideration to what may happen to us. Our human concepts of morality and empathy are heavily influenced by our mammalian biology. Imagine that aliens land, and instead of having nice little family units, their species lays clutches of thousands of eggs at a time. They don't form strong bonds. Life is essentially expendable for them. They see us weeping over a dead child and they have literally no frame of reference for understanding why this would be upsetting. I'm not saying all aliens will be like this, but some definitely could be. For all we know, aliens might not be the little green men that fly around in flying saucers and destroy us with laser beams. They could be an interstellar pathogen that show up one day and silently and effortlessly kills us all without warning. Our immune systems would have no idea what hit them. There was a book called Blindsight that explores a cool idea of aliens where they're not your typical little green men. The premise is pretty much, what if humanity is unique? What if intelligent life is common, but sentience is not? That music, art, literature is a uniquely human trait. That space is filled with cold, emotionless, genius life. To me that idea is kinda horrifying. At least, I think that's what the book was about. I'm not the best reader, lol. The assumption that they come in groups in some flying saucer. For all we know they might just appear in hordes of thousands of not millions all across the planet. Also, we like to think that aliens will share the same way of thinking as humans, i.e., reasoning, emotions, etc. Closing parenthesis dot. But the only reason we think that is because that's the only thing we are familiar with. Aliens might have completely different emotions or thought processes than us, but we won't know because we never encountered them before. It's like the fourth dimension. At this point it's pretty well established what it is, but most of us, if not all, have no clue how to visualize or properly explain it. Well, for us at least, the best way I think that we can evolve to be spacefarers is to become energy, hardware-based beings. If you take the squishy human body out of the equation, and have us uploaded as digital consciousnesses or a collective consciousness, then you eliminate a lot of the problems of deep space travel, resources, radiation, size of spacecraft, reproduction, acceleration, deceleration, etc. With feasible technology you could literally beam human consciousness vast distances at the speed of light to pre-seated automated factories that produce what we need from local resources, robotic bodies, ships and the like. It's just one idea, but it definitely solves a number of problems we're going to encounter in the next few centuries. Extremely unlikely, I know, but if aliens ever come to Earth it likely means they are a spacefaring and interstellar capable species with tech at least centuries, if not millennia, ahead of ours. In other words, if aliens are even remotely capable of traveling to our planet, we're pretty much outgunned hilariously. I would much rather be massively outgunned than to be just a bit outgunned. If even our most powerful nukes are nothing compared to their technology, then we're not a threat. If we pose a potential danger to them, there's an incentive to eliminate us. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. I think that any aliens that are capable of traveling light years to reach us have no interest in our resources. Agreed. Totally. To play devil's advocate. However, I would also add the following: a big factor in their decision whether or not the resources on Earth were plentiful enough to justify the trip would be just how technologically advanced they were. If they were so advanced that they could travel faster than the speed of light or fold space-time or something, then it would come down to how badly they needed whatever resources and whether or not they could attain it elsewhere with less effort. The scariest thing to me is thinking that aliens want nothing to do with us. I don't get why everyone thinks that aliens would attack us immediately. It's one thing if we come into their territory, but if they stumble upon us, we're most likely safe. Them finding us would mean they are incredibly advanced. Anything they could get by attacking Earth they could get far easier by harvesting it from a different planet in our solar system. Unless they feed specifically on brainwaves, it isn't worth the hassle to attack a planet teeming with life. They may have some weapons, however primitive, that might be used against you. It's far more frightening to believe that aliens will one day discover us and won't be interested. They won't want us on their intergalactic councils. They won't want to give us medicine. They won't want to form any bond. If they decide to just leave humanity alone, that means either they have decided we are not worth saving, or that we are too close to destruction to be worth the resources. What if it ends up the other way around? What if we end up being able to travel between the stars, and we find some aliens that aren't as technologically advanced as we are? I could easily see us being imperialist invaders, committing the atrocities we've committed against each other on an entire species so we could have a second planet with an oxygen atmosphere and easily attainable natural resources. That would be truly horrifying. My main thing is that they'll bring a virus or something that'll just wipe us out 'cause we've never seen anything like it. Or we'll be immune 'cause it's too alien. Who knows? But until there is actual proof that there are advanced aliens out there, I'll stick to the idea that they are bacterial cells on Titan or something. The fact that they could pretty much see us as inferior life forms. Thus, they could make us slaves, their food or test subjects. It wouldn't be something personal. They just would look down on us like we would do with some ants. Not even worth it changing the direction of a step to avoid killing. That they don't actually exist. If there were no advanced civilization that can colonize other planets, that would mean that most of them go extinct before they reach that level of technological advancement. Which means that we are probably doomed to extinction too. I think there could be a more positive outcome too. Maybe interstellar travel is too hard and instead, they'd rather spend a utopia in some sort of mind upload thing. Having alien sex and doing alien drugs. I'm hopeful that maybe it's because there's just more fun stuff to do than flying through dead space lol. There are lots of explanations for why we haven't heard from an intelligent species. It may be that they are observing us with devices we can't detect. And they don't think we're ready to meet them, and they're right about that. They may just be hanging out with other, similarly advanced species, and we're not interesting enough for them to bother with. They may communicate in a way that we haven't discovered yet, and they're bombarding our planet with messages that we don't know how to detect. One scientist proposed that the oldest star systems in our galaxy may have been bombarded with gamma rays in the early years of our galaxy's existence. So intelligent life on those planets didn't get the head start that we thought they would have had. And the first intelligent life is evolving in the later formed solar systems like ours. In which case the other intelligent species in the galaxy are just as dumb as we are. Or at least not sufficiently advanced to travel among the stars. Maybe they have visited us. Maybe out of the bajillion UFO sightings that were ordinary terrestrial phenomenon. Hoaxes. Or the hallucinations of people on drugs. One or two of those sightings were of an actual alien spaceship. And they were written off as hoaxes, etc. Maybe intelligent life did evolve in the earliest formed solar systems in our galaxy. And they did travel among the stars. But after billions of years of existence they became extinct or evolved into something so far beyond us that they are beyond communicating with our simple minds. Since life on this planet is one big cycle of eating other living things, plants and animals, to survive, they might be so horrified that they press the big nope button and end it all. We are only an intelligent species because we defined ourselves that way. Think of it. There is only a 1% difference in DNA between chimps and us, meanwhile the difference in intelligence is huge. We are exploring the cosmos with our advanced telescopes, meanwhile the smartest chimp is stacking up rocks. Now think of an alien species that has a 1% DNA difference with us lining the other way. Their simplest thoughts would be too complicated for us. The smartest person on Earth would be like a chimp stacking up rocks for them. Now think of a species with another 1% difference. We wouldn't even be like ants walking on the floor to them. We would be less than that. And you could go on like that. 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. What would we be? So insignificant that no one in the cosmos would consider making contact with us? Is the truth of the cosmos and reality actually really simple, but we are just too stupid? Like expecting ants walking on a football field to understand what's going on the field? Do we not know what we don't know? They might not have orifices for eating or pooping. Hear me out. Almost all life on Earth is topologically equivalent to a donut. Meaning we have an outside wall and an inside wall, digestive and respiratory tract, that runs like a hole through us. And our important bits are sandwiched between these walls. One of the only examples of life that isn't like that would be, for example, single-celled organisms. Amoebas and such, which just kind of ooze over whatever they acquire sustenance from and osmose it into themselves. Currently on Earth only microorganisms are like that. Edit, also some weird ocean creatures. But there are fossils dating from before the Cambrian explosion from millions of years ago which hint that a completely different type of large and complex organisms might have evolved to walk the Earth before that evolutionary lineage was wiped out by an asteroid or the like. One of the oldest of these rare fossils is of a zero-orificed creature that was about a meter long. We don't have a lot of info from life during that age, but it indicates there may have been an entire evolutionary track of complex life forms favoring life that is topologically equivalent to ball instead of donut. And that's on Earth. So, yeah, we could very well find an entire planet of giant, oozy amoebas of assorted species and intelligence, who neither eat, speak, or shit like we do. Just try figuring out how to breach that cultural and language barrier. Edit, for those asking for more info on the ancient Earth giant amoeba fossil, I read about it in The Science of the Discworld, co-authored by Pratchett and 2 others, which is a very cool take on a popular science book. About our world. Yes, don't worry. Not about the Discworld. Although alternating chapters use a fun Discworld frame story as an excuse to look at the cool science in the science chapters. I'll see if I can pinpoint where in the books they talked about this fossil and update if I find it. Would highly recommend this as a popular science read, by the way. Very entertaining and educational. Edit 2, found it. The class of fossils are called ediacarans. An excerpt from Chapter 23 of The Science of the Discworld, https://EA600900. Us. Archive. Org. 33. Items. The new Discworld Companion. The %20 Science %20 of %20 Discworld %20I. PDF. These creatures are known as ediacarans. After a place in Australia where the first fossils were found. They could grow to half a meter or more. But as far as can be told from the fossil record, seem not to have had any internal organs or external orifices like a mouth or an anus. They may have survived by digesting symbiotic bacteria in their cells. Or by some other process we can only guess at. Some were flattened and clustered together in quilts. We have no idea whether the ediacarans were our distant ancestors, or whether they were a dead end, a lifestyle doomed to failure. No matter, they were around then. And as far as anyone knew, not much else was. There are hints of fossil worm casts, though, and some very recent fossils look like. But we're getting ahead of the story. The point is that nearly all ediacaran life was apparently unrelated to what came later. Single quote. The dark forest theory kinda freaks me out. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another life, another hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant to tottering old man, a fairy or demigod, there's only one thing he can do: open fire and eliminate them. The fact that any life form that advanced that showed up to Earth without wanting a peaceful contact would likely just show up, vacuum up all the resources and leave us to die without any communication or anything. Think about it, when humans go into nature to get resources, they don't kill all the animals. They just take what they want and leave. For some reason that is more chilling to me than aliens just glassing the planet with lasers. I don't think a peaceful alien would contact us. We are violent and very territorial. Things that would be in opposition to any kind of peaceful alien or interplanetary federation. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification button. See you next time.